Hello once again, chess fans. This is Craig Marr, your humble chess reporter, with another edition of The Stories Behind the Games. When I was an active player in the 1980s, one of my greatest thrills was facing a world-class grandmaster, a superstar. Now, how was I able to do that? You know, if you're lower rated, you can play someone like Roman, the Roman Djindjikashvili in the first round of Swiss. Here in America, we're kind of born and bred in the Swiss system tournaments. Now, the pairings are such that you pair the higher rateds with the lower rateds in the first round. Now, the other way that you could play a superstar is if you were to enter a very strong tournament and had a perfect score like 3 out of 3 or 2 out of 2, and then you're going to get a tough pairing in the next round. I guarantee you. Now, the San Mateo Action Tournament in 1989 wasn't just strong, it was hella strong, man. You had around 15 GMs, you had about 15 IMs, and you had a bunch of masters all playing in the same tournament. I thought my rating at the time was pretty high in 1989, but here, I was just another average player. The tournament organizer must have gone broke because he paid the plane tickets for numerous GMs who came to California from the East Coast. It was going to be a big event. But between the rounds, I looked around and what do I see? I see Yasser Seirawan, I see Roman, I see Larry Christensen, I see Nick DeFermian, there's Gada Kamsky, and there's Walter Brown, Lev Albert, Boris Gulko. I mean, it was just a veritable who's who of American chess. Now, what was I doing here, Well, by 1989, I had pretty much retired from the game. There's no IM title, there's no GM title. And I was applying to law school so I could get a respectable job in the real world. Now, in those days, being a chess player got you no respect. You were like a bum. Now in chess, I could have been a contender maybe, but decided that becoming a title player really wasn't worth it. But I wanted to do well in, such a strong field and such a good tournament and gain some rating points. I tried to play at a high level and do the best I could because I loved the game and I loved the action, and I really wasn't doing it for the money. In my first round game, I had black against Master Selby, who was rated 22-34. Here is the game. Selby opened with e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, and this is known as the Rosalimo opening, which is a very good opening. e6. Although I was a strong player, my openings really weren't that good. g6 is considered better nowadays. Now white's aiming for a Maroxy bind. At this point, my best move might be something like E5 to try to prevent D4 here. Here, black must be careful about his dark squares. If I keep capturing, eventually I'm going to have a big hole on D6, which black cannot really cover adequately. So that would be a big mistake for me to start trading off pieces on D4. Now black is in real trouble because he just can't get his pieces out. Now the reason for this maneuver is because in the Maroxy bind, this knight is usually better off on D7 than it is on C6. And that's just one of the peculiar rules of this particular opening. Now at this point both sides are meandering around looking for a plan. The knight is so strong I have to capture it. Now I've got good pressure on the queen, and I hope to pin the queen here. Now suddenly we have a lot of play on the king side, on this part of the board. Now this rook e8 is a good response to this invasion of the knight. If I capture the knight, he's going to take with the pawn, and then I'm going to have big pressure on f7. So this is probably the best way to meet this invasion. Now, this is probably not good because now, ding, fork. He has to take it. And now, I could take the rook, but I decided instead to take his bishop. And now, we notice that white is kind of running out of pieces to attack with, so he takes here. And suddenly we see that white, with his pieces over here, is trying to suddenly attack over here with all his pieces over here, and it probably isn't going to work. Here I'm threatening mate, so h4, trying to stop that. Now I want to trade queens because I'm up the exchange, and whenever you're up material like this, you want to trade down, and here I'm going to have to give up material here, so I decided to activate the knight and then offer the trade of rooks. You know, when you're the exchange down, the last thing you want to do is trade rooks, so I can very well understand white's play. But now black has a superior position because this bishop is dead and this bishop is blocked by its own pawn. It's a bad bishop. Here both sides are trying to get their kings to a better position. Now I decided to protect the d pawn just in case, and bring the king to a good square. Now white was kind of in time trouble. You know, we're both in time trouble. Knight g5 isn't very good because it allows my rooks to really, now I have to decide how am I going to attack. Check. The target is the G pawn. Check again. Now what do I do? Keep attacking. Rook h4. Now again, you know, I want to target the G pawn. Notice that this bishop is really passive here. It's simply not participating in the struggle. Now I'm going to go for a mate here. I'm threatening mate. Now, let's pause. And what would you do? I hope that most of you have found the devastating Rook H1 mate. Notice how the bishop is bad and has kind of been a spectator throughout all this play over on the king side. So long, and I'll see you next time.